Alright, fuckers, welcome back to practicing portraits on artwod roadmap, right? For perhaps some encouragement to those of you still listening, alright? I did not feel like drawing today at all, and yet here I am. So if I can be here, you can be here, you can be queer. Join me. Get your pen, get your pencil. Get your pen, get your paper, not your pencil. Disgusting. Don't get your pencil. That's just to promote line confidence, of course, right? But yeah, get your pen, get your pencil. Today I'm obviously gonna, well, not obviously, but today I have a topic in mind that I wanted to discuss. But to continue building the skill of talking while drawing, right? B, to improve that skill, to have a completely, essentially, alternate, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? To have a diverging path, a thought pattern occurring simultaneously while spatially reasoning, right? And I know I do that generally while I talk, while I draw, but, this time around I want to push that a bit further. But either way, what are we doing? Artwod Portrait Roadmap. Artwod is an art platform that will train you to be the best fucking draftsmanship slash drawer from imagination in the fucking universe, right? They give you the work, not the shortcut. I'm just copywriting or stealing what they say, which is their like latest branding, which is true. They give you the work, not the shortcut. If you want to dick around, don't go to Artwod because it's a waste of your time, and you're honestly wasting their time. But if you actually care about getting good at art, and if this skill or you know what, maybe I should probably start selling Artwod a bit more. If you want to be able to draw at this level, not specifically this, but at this level, right? If you want to be able to draw at this level, pen only, directly from imagination, go to Artwod, because Artwod is the reason I can draw like this. It's been 3 years and 2 months of practice. Since I started drawing, it's been 3 years and 2 months. And 4 months in, I switched to Artwod. So, yeah, if this doesn't convince you, nothing will, right? This is 3 years and 2 months. Yeah, and that's all because of Artwod. So, if you're wondering what I did, go to my fucking channel. There's 300 plus videos, moron. Anyways, for those of you who know the drill, draw along with me, right? What are we doing? Looking at a portrait. What are we doing with the portrait? Putting a box over it. What are we doing inside that box? Putting a sphere over it. What are we doing inside that sphere? Putting two center lines, vertical and horizontal, over it, inside of it. So, inside the sphere, inside the box. If that sounds extremely difficult or extremely confusing, it is. It's extremely cognitively demanding. Cognitively demanding, because art is a thinking skill. Okay? Much less a motor one. Of course, motor skills are extremely important, and yeah, they're the backbone of you being able to apply. But as Karl Kapinski has so beautifully proven, unfortunately, he got a stroke. But as he proved, right, his mind was that of a master, and his hand simply took. I say simply, but he obviously worked his ass off, and he's still continuing to work his ass off. His left hand, and specifically, is what, like, his left side of his body got the stroke. But his mind saw everything. His hand simply, again, quote unquote, simply had to work its ass off to be able to catch up to the mind. But if he didn't have that mind, his stroke recovery would not be that recovery, right? So basically, he went back to his extreme high level of skill, right? From a beginner's perspective, I'm a complete novice, so for me, it just looks like mastery. But obviously, for him, he literally shits on himself all the time. He actually it's crazy to me, bro. Like Karl Kapinski is a fucking god, right? He's literally Kami-sama, but he consistently in every single one of his posts. First of all, he keeps having spelling errors, so he needs to get autocorrect. He needs to get on autocorrect, right? Unk needs to get on autocorrect. I can't believe I'm saying that, considering I'm technically, I guess, an unk now at 28 years old, right? Maybe in the future nobody's even using the word unk, so maybe this slang will die as well. That'd be nice. Right, okay, I'm trying to figure out the perspective of this box. I feel as if I didn't tilt it enough. I definitely didn't tilt the head enough, because this guy's head is way more tilted than that. But for the time being, this will have to suffice, because this is what I've drawn, right? And now I have to see what the side of his face is, because it's actually a very, very subtle box. It's like this, right? And again, I'm trying to imagine a sphere inside of this as I draw it, so it's very difficult. But yes, what conversation topic did I have in mind, right? What is Biggie trying to bullshit about this time? Oh, and I got the perspective completely wrong. It's a top-down perspective. So, there you go. Complete and utter mistake, because what did I not do? I didn't take my time to focus, to pay attention, to think, right? So, it's beautiful. I'm going to allow this mistake to occur, of course, because not really much else can be done apart from allowing it to occur. Is this actually a top-down perspective? It is a top-down perspective, right? We're not seeing the bottom of his face, that's for sure. So it has to be a top-down perspective. But I'm gonna allow this to occur because nothing else can be allowed to occur. But anyways, yeah, what am I thinking about? What topic did I want to talk about? Okay, I want to talk about something that is, um, it's completely relevant to every single one of you, and every single one of us. Like it's relevant to all of us, which is how we behave when we learn, right? And how we think when we learn. At this point, if you're a fan of mine or if you've been exposed to my content long enough, you will know the words of focus on the effort, focus on the errors, and derive enjoyment from them, right? You will know that sentence that I regurgitate when it comes to learning and practicing, which is make as many mistakes as you can, associate positive feelings with those mistakes, but make as many mistakes as you can in the sense that do your best not to make mistakes, but when you inevitably do make mistakes, right, associate positive feelings with them. Right, and how do you do that? Just a mindset thing. It's just however you will consistently train yourself to do that, right? But you know, focus on the errors and then focus on the effort, which is just how much effort are you putting into doing this, right? And the mistakes you make even with that effort. So like obviously I've been parroting that for who knows how long now, right? Over a year, 2 years, 2 years, like a year and a half before I started the channel to myself. And then obviously as I continue to internalize that, it just bled over into the channel and I realized, okay, I need to do a fucking public service and remind people that they're capable of so much more than they believe, right? Not that I'm the one who needs to do that, but I feel as if people need that all the same. But anyways, right? Something that applies to all of us is how we learn, right? Or how we behave when we learn. And one thing I've boiled it down to, and by the way, like I'm going to assume, let's just say like a certain percent of what I say will resonate and perhaps be more correct, like objectively, and a certain percentage won't resonate and perhaps be more incorrect, objectively, right? But these are just based on my observations and my experiences. Of course, some of it will be right and some of it will resonate with you and some of it won't be right and won't resonate with you, right? So that's just literally, like, that's just how it is, right? I don't expect or aim to resonate with everybody or to be correct on everything, because if I expected to be correct on everything, I wouldn't be pursuing this skill. Because this skill, the skill of art, is basically a giant middle finger to being correct, right? It's an intensely difficult problem-solving skill at that as well, right? So, and I'm just placing the features here, not because I'm practicing portraiture in the feature sense, I'm practicing portraiture in the perspective sense, right? Like, and of course, you know, making hard surface shapes and all that stuff. I feel as if I've gotten a lot better at visualizing the perfect ellipse and putting a perfect cube over that ellipse. I genuinely, all that sheer effort is, as always, paying off, right? So here's what I wanted to say, right? Here's just kind of what I have to say regarding that. I know this perspective is off, but I'm still gonna see what I can do here, right? Is like how we behave when we learn. And apart from all the effort stuff I talk about, one thing, and this is like, I'm guilty of this as well, but to a much less degree than I was, like fucking 500% improvement since the beginning. And now, because I keep training myself to have a mindset that is akin to the positive growth-oriented mindset, right? This happens maybe 20% of the time, right? What I'm about to explain, which is there are basically 3 things that I've noticed. Or sorry, not 3 things, but there are things that I've noticed that we either project, internalize, or ascribe to our journey, right? To our learning journey. And obviously, within the context of what I'm talking about, it's going to be art related, but this applies to every single skill. All right, so keep that in mind. This applies to all skill learning. And at this point, you should already know, when I say skill, I mean literally everything that can be learned, because everything is a skill. Everything. Apart from genetic, like literally objective genetic measures, like your fucking height or the size of your thumb, right? Like, or your girth. But apart from that, everything is a fucking skill. So get that in your head. Now that you've understood that, or you've probably had you've either understood it vaguely, you've understood it really strongly, depending on how much you agree with the things I say, or you've rejected that wholeheartedly because you ascribe to the bullshit notion of talent. If you do and you are not willing to have your mind changed, get the fuck off my channel, right? I'm not here to appease your retarded notions of inherent ability, okay? Otherwise, this channel is not called Watch Me Become Great. It's Watch Me be exactly the same without zero improvement, because effort doesn't matter. No, it's not like that. Would you see how it is actually about effort? Okay, cool, then you can stay, right? You understand? Then you can stay. But anyways, I don't know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, see, it's definitely narrow. The side plane is definitely narrow. So I got that right. This has to be a, this is like a very, very, very subtle top-down perspective. I got it wrong. So this is not like, it's just this, but reversed from the top down. So that's what I'm understanding. And the box itself is rotated more diagonally, like so, right? Subtle difference. If you can't tell the difference between this and this, like if you can't tell the difference between these two lines, that means you have room for improvement, which means you have room for improvement. Like you have the ability to improve, to see that better, right? Which is a beautiful thing. But anyways, I've noticed that it all boils down to, from my experience and from what I've seen, like people constantly say, right? Because I do pay attention to what people say, right? I do pay attention. You know, I don't go out of my way to search for this, but when you are on social media and you look at somebody's really nice art, maybe not you, you know, maybe not you, right? Spending your time in the comments isn't that good anyways. I don't spend more than like a minute max, like maybe 30 seconds, right? But yeah, I do get that curiosity. I'm like, what are people saying about this person's art? Because it's really good. And inevitably, you will see people either say something along the lines of, I could never do this, or ha ha ha, what's it called? Like basically it's always something along the lines of putting themselves down or just basically saying they're incapable. And that saddens me, but also makes me realize that this definitely is something human. Because again, like today I did not want to draw, right? And I was thinking about it like, okay, I fucked up his lips drastically. But again, it's not about the features. But again, today I was thinking like, why did I not want to draw it today? So it comes from what I've understood. I love how like I'm just beating around the fucking bush, but I'm trying to get a precedent across, right? But what seems to be the greatest blocker when it comes to people, and this is something you've all heard before, right? I'm not about to say anything super profound, so don't like fucking be on the edge of your seat being like, well, what is this new insight? I'm just going to try to articulate it in a way that perhaps makes it a bit more understandable, hopefully. And yeah, it maybe makes a bit more sense and gives you an insight in which you can take actionable steps on towards focusing on the effort rather than the blockers that I'm about to explain. But it's okay, like expectations is one of them, and fear is another one, right? But I think from what I understand, right, the fear and the expectation all boils down to ego, hubris, pride, right? An esteem higher than the ability that you currently have, right? Or self-esteem higher than the ability that you currently have. So what do I mean by this? And this we all went through. I went through this for months on end, for years on end, for literally the first year, 2 years, and I still go through this in pockets, as I mentioned, right? Which is why focusing on the effort is all that matters, you know? So again, like now while I'm talking, I'm gonna have to design something, right? So why don't we try something that's a little bit more, not simple, but yeah, like not simple for sure, but definitely has some relative interactions occurring, right? In terms of, because like I basically streamed when if you go to like part 47 of my live streams, right? Just type in, go to my lives on my channel, you'll see part 47 at one point, no matter where you're watching this, in the fucking present or the future or whatever, right? Like you will see part 47 because I number everything. And you'll see that halfway through that stream, after I finished this drawing that I showed you, right? Halfway through that stream, after I finished this, I tried to analyze and understand hard surface shapes when it comes to helmet design a bit better. And there's a lot to think about, but I think I do believe I'm getting it down a little bit better, right? In terms of just the shapes that are involved. But of course, that comes down to obviously constantly visualizing the box, right? So I will obviously, right now, there will be a moment as you're witnessing where I'm gonna stop talking about what I was talking about. So again, draw along. Please bear with me and please draw along, because I feel as if this is important to me to talk about, but at the same time, I do need to think, right? I do need to think and I do need to draw. And that's important as well. Let's see. Something like that, right? And this all comes down to perspective at the end of the day. And we could do something like this, right? Because I'm trying to follow the box. Like, again, I'm thinking about the box, I'm thinking about the sphere inside the box, and I'm thinking about the center lines inside the sphere, inside the box. I'm just trying to think. Maybe something like... There you go. That can be interesting. There's a lot of like plane changes, subtle plane changes that I noticed that occurred during this type of drawing, right? Like during these hard surface type drawings. So I'm trying to keep that in mind as well, because it's really easy to get lost in the details, but it's also really important to try to understand what details even mean in this context, right? So it could literally just be something like this, you know, where it comes around, and now we have something that is perhaps shape manipulated, if that makes sense. Very shapely manipulated. Okay, but I'll go back to, like, again, this is a skill I'm building, right? So I'll go back to talking about what I was talking about before, right? So what I mean by pride, right, is like we expect ourselves to be able to do something more than we already can, you know? And I genuinely believe that's what it all boils down to, right? We expect ourselves to do something more than we already can. We don't actually understand how much effort it takes to do 1/10 of what we want to do, which is what we actually can do, right? And like, yeah, it's like we don't even realize how much effort it takes to do like even a smidgen of what we're already capable of doing, right? We don't even have that ability because we've never put the effort in to get to start. So it is ego. It genuinely is just an ego that must be stymied, right? Stymied, stifled, put down, as Old Yeller once felt. But yeah, like that's it. That's my time. That's it. I'm done. That's my conversation. Right? But let's see. Something like this, right? I'm just trying to think, because we do need there you go. Like following the contours is one thing I definitely noticed. So now it just comes down like how does it follow the contour, right? And whether that makes sense or not. Even if you add shadows in here, perhaps it'll make a little bit of a difference, right? And maybe this won't really make sense right now, and maybe it won't ever make sense, which is fine because that's part of the drawing process, is sometimes things just don't ever make sense. Right? But it really is just ego, in my opinion. Like, it genuinely is ego, because and obviously this is all based on my experience and like the things people say, right? Is because I saw, like, funny enough, I saw an Instagram post today that was pretty relevant regarding all this, and it was essentially someone being like, oh, I have to practice, and it was like a voiceover of somebody just complaining about practicing, and the audio kept getting more and more distorted, and the person just kept yelling louder and louder, and I had like 30k likes, and all the comments were like, no, I just want to not practice and expect to get better. And I know it was all in like humor and irony. It was like, ha ha ha, people want to get better, but they're not going to put the work in. But it's also very telling that people want to put the work in, or people don't want to put the work in and get better, right? So I was just like, whether this is a meme or not, the fact that so many people resonate with this isn't a meme, right? That's the reality, is like many people resonate with this. Yeah, okay, I just have to change the perspective there. Like, many people resonated with that. So that tells me that many people do not want or do not believe that the work they should put in is the work they have to put in. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, many people believe that they should simply not have to put the work that is required to get the result that they desire, right? And all that tells me as well is the fact that there is an expectation mismatch, and there's a lot of ego. There's a lot of pride, and there's actually a huge level of disrespect towards the skill, right? Would you go to Tiger Woods and be like, bro, come on, you're just gonna swing it a few hundred times and then you're gonna be the GOAT, that's it, right? Why are you wasting all this effort? No, you wouldn't. So if you believe you're capable of things, would you tell yourself that you just have to draw a few lines and draw a few boxes and therefore you understand the fundamentals of draftsmanship? No, you shouldn't, right? And please do excuse me, because like I will literally be all over the place with what I'm trying to say, because I'm literally trying to design in my mind and actually like apply the principles that I've been learning while I'm talking, right? So yeah, like do excuse me on that front, but I do believe that I do that what I'm saying does hopefully make sense, right? That's going inwards like this. That's pretty good. I do believe it makes sense, even if I'm really fried in my brain right now to try to make sense of this. Something like that. Again, we have to keep the perspective and the ellipse and the contour in mind. But the thing is, it's actually getting a lot easier to see that. It's genuinely getting a lot easier to see this perspective and the ellipse. It actually is. Even if the perspective is off, right? Right, like it is right now, it's actually getting a lot easier to see this stuff. So that is something I can definitely be proud of for myself. I think I deserve the pride in that regard for myself. But yeah, that's the main thing I wanted to say, is like I would encourage all of you. The main thing is like, yeah, that's why you should only, that's completely off, but that's why we can only really focus on the effort, right? Because whatever we believe we're capable of, we're not until we put the work in, right? And that's actually a very hopeful message, because that just means the only thing separating you from what you believe you're capable of is just more of what you've been doing and harder, right? Like just more effort towards it. So I hope that inspires, because that means it's in your hands, right? Like you are actually in control of the work that you're doing. You know what I mean? Like you are in control. Nobody else but you. Right? So I would implore you actually to not be so fucking retarded. For lack of a better word, right? I would implore you to not think that these stupid things like ha ha ha, oh, like I don't want to practice, or oh, like a lol xd, we're just gonna not work, because all you're doing, whether it's a meme or not, and I get it, like it's fine, it's funny, you know, you're obviously allowed to joke around about these things, but I'm saying if you find yourself taking it seriously and you find yourself genuinely being affected by that sort of mentality. I'm not saying that you're fucking doom and gloom and you're like, wow, that Instagram meme really fucked me up. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if this type of thought process where already you struggle to believe in your ability to continue and to draw, right? And you already expect too much of yourself, right? If that is something that is prevalent in your drawing journey, in your learning journey, then I would encourage you to just really only focus on the effort, right? Like really only focus on the effort, because it truly is the only thing you can control. Genuinely, it's the only thing you can control. Let me just, hold up, shut the fuck up. I'm just trying to think what I can make of this. Right, some sort of, I mean, this is not really that much of a helmet, and yeah, the lines are kind of going to shit. I don't know what I did here. It was not very clear. Bars. Anyways, this was supposed to be going this way, but did I fuck it up? I guess I'm turning it that way now. Well, that's why we have these little affirming lines. Let's see what happened here. Okay, and then we'll have that go back. Right? Something like that. And what would be a decent silhouette? Maybe just something that goes down. Like so. But not before I have maybe something coming out. Right, and this is where we... And this is obviously all like great opportunities for line work, more than anything. Right? Because I'm just also trying to base this off of the examples that I've seen, you know? But this is obviously like, this perspective has been bastardized, and we just got to figure out how to unbastardize it. Like, if I do something like that. I'm just trying to, and this is a great way to practice my lines as well. Like, it'll always be a great way to practice my lines. And let me actually close this off. Fuck it, let's close this off and see where we can go from here. Right? That's already, perspective-wise, it's already extremely incorrect. But yeah, all I'm trying to say is I implore you to put your ego aside. Very long-winded of saying, put your ego aside, and the only thing you should expect is that you try. Like, that's it. Right? If you are trying, you are winning. Okay? That's it. That's all I would suggest. You know, and this is something I'm not just telling you, I'm telling me as well. Right? Like, if I'm trying, I'm winning. And I really am trying right now. I genuinely am trying. I just got to think about a shape that's going to make more sense. Because I'm still starting to understand. Slowly, I'm trying to implement that. Everything just follows the silhouette. Like, if we have a shape like this, we can have something that comes around through here, but then it juts out and goes out here. And then if we have something that goes out here, we can have something that comes out and, like, follows this thing. Right? And then maybe there's things that attach here. So that's maybe not the best example, but I'm just slowly starting to understand that the silhouette really is a huge part of it. Like, but not just the overall silhouette, but how the silhouette functions in terms of like the Lego pieces that are being fit, right? Like, that is also what I mean. You know, like how the silhouette functions as Lego pieces, right? So, and what I mean by that is like the edge of this can result in something like this following along on it, right? Like following along on it, you know? And obviously my lines are subpar, and my design, like my large graphic shapes still need a lot of work, which is why I'm really trying to think right now as to what those graphic shapes could be, right? And I didn't like establish really like a proper eye area or anything, so it is kind of going to shit, but maybe we can fix this by doing something like this, right? I don't know if that's actually going to work. Probably not, because my lines have really fucked it up, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe this is some sort of plating that comes around and it adds to this little ellipse, right? Something like that, something like that. And now we can have a large shape here that hopefully can transfer some things, right? Like even like cutting out here can make a pretty big difference. See? Something like that. Maybe something jutting through. Who knows? Who knows? But like, okay, what kind of shape do I want here? Do I want one shape? Do I want two shapes? I want a pretty fucking consistent shape. And actually, this is off perspective, but we fixed it now slightly. Slightly. Here we can even do something like this. Make that outline go around to make it consistent. Right? All poor line work, of course, but... And then maybe... something like like this, right? And that kind of follows the contour. And then now we can see what the large shapes can be, which is perhaps something that's jutting out like so. And it's all what ifs. It's all what ifs, and this what if could be absolutely horrendous, right? Because I might have made it a bit too much. Wait, yeah, I definitely made it a bit too much. But yeah, trying to think about like shapes and shit should help in terms of what do I want to do with this, right? What do I want to do? So we got a silhouette, and I feel as if I already fucked up the perspective here. So is there a way to undo that? Maybe something like that. Oh, that's actually not that bad. That actually isn't that bad at all. Right? And then let's see, maybe something like this. Right? And we can possibly have something jutting out like so. Okay, so that fucked it up, but it wasn't a bad idea. At least in the beginning, it wasn't a bad idea. I was just too hasty with the cylindrical attachment, and that resulted in what we, the subpar design we see now, right? But there might still be a way to save this, because let's see, maybe if we have a jut out like that and jut out like that. And then we can just have, I don't know, lines over there or some shit. Still don't think it works, but maybe what we have here will save it. I love how like I keep trying to save it rather than just fucking give up and be like, it's just not working. That's the power invested in me. But at least the sphere is getting a lot better. That's a pretty decent sphere that it's wrapped around. Not that good, but there could be a shape here that perhaps makes it, let's see, something like, maybe it just comes out and it goes back around and then it attaches there, which was a mistake on my end. Yep, nope, not working, just not working. Let's just leave it. Way too complicated, way too much random shit going on. Definitely not clear readable shapes, that's for sure. So amazing, like again, like all these mistakes. I didn't have an ego about me. I expected what I drew would be a clusterfuck, right? Because all my other drawings have indicated that they're relatively clusterfucky. This is like the one instance where things went decently, and so was this one, right? But now I'm starting to implement another idea, which is like, can silhouette be involved in this thing? And the answer is yes, it can be. And I think shadow can also be involved, if we think about it, right? Shadow can definitely be involved and make these silhouettes have a lot more meaning, right? But do I understand shadow? No, not really. I'm probably just making it worse by doing this. Let's see. Nah, doesn't really look that good, right? And we'll just do something like this to mark it off. And again, if we want to retain that perspective, we could just, and again, the perspective has gone to shit, but we could just do something like this, right? Which is like, it's the bottom view, it's the bottom view, or I'm just gonna fucking bastardize it. It's something like that. See, like, perspective is very off, because this is way too high. Okay, we're gonna leave it. I'm just adding shit for the sake of adding shit. That honestly didn't need to exist. Amazing. Okay, so let me rest my brain. And then we're gonna do this portrait again, and we're gonna do it from the right angle. Jesus Christ, like the correct perspective, because I fucked it up, right? Good session, honestly. And I'm with this one. I'm gonna hopefully try to. Not hopefully, I'm gonna just do my best to have larger, more established shapes. I feel this was. I definitely feel as if this was a good first attempt. Anal, anal, anal. What the fuck am I saying? I was trying to say I know, and then my vocal cords just told me to go fuck myself. But there are definitely good ideas here. Because if you think about it, like this region was like a manipulated box, and so is this one, right? And then it's on a form wrapped thinner box, and then this is like a box, large shape jutting out. This is like a shape. This is a shape. So the ideas are there. Definitely the actual design is lacking, as well as the intention, right? The forethought did not exist where I was like, oh, maybe this will be resting on that. I'm only noticing that now after, but the goal is obviously while I speak and while I inform what I'm thinking about to, let's see, first of all, I fucked this perspective up quite drastically, so it ended up becoming something like this. Right? Which is, it's like it's converging, and you see this is completely off because this needs to be way down here if we want to make it look like it's part of the bottom, right? Hopefully that's noticeable, which is why it's so fucking clusterfucked here. Because look, you see this? You see how much that's converging? So it's this ellipse really fucked things up, right? But like the perspective technically is correct for the most part of it, but my really mediocre lines, my really mediocre designs, shapes, everything are making it even more convoluted, which is why I need to really try to make simple shapes, you know, and go from there. And like maybe, and not maybe, and add complexity on top of that. So I'll just keep doing my best. I'll just keep doing my best, and I'll figure it out. But see, this is a moment where I could clearly, egotistically be like, how could I fuck this up? Blah blah blah. It's like, no, dickhead. This is what you're capable of. All right, you tried really hard. You're really focused. You're literally speaking while you're drawing, and you're trying super hard. And this is what you're capable of. That means this is what you're capable of. All right. The beauty is now you can recognize that there's a lot of errors that you made. The beauty is that you can recognize where you want to be, and the beauty is the fact that you're going to keep problem solving to slowly, incrementally get to the point where what you'll be capable of is a little bit more than this, and then a little bit more than this, and then years and decades go by, and suddenly what you're capable of will be like shitting this out in your sleep, right? And again, 3 years, 2 months. By the way, this is the result. This is the result of 3 years and 2 months of effort, right? The outcome doesn't matter, but this is the result of that effort. All right, this outcome is the result of those inputs, the effort that I kept putting in, right? And as you can see, my hard surface designs have gotten a lot better, and it may not have seemed like the almost near 100 reps I've done for this shit at this point has been fruitful, right? But I have been learning. I have been picking things up, and I have been paying attention. Therefore, looked at a tank for fucking 5 minutes on Pinterest the morning before I drew this, and then I drew a tank for imagination. Is that really a correct tank? No. Does it really look like a tank? Not really, but does it look like a tank-like shape? Yes. Right? Or, you know, if you don't think it looks like it, that's fine. There's still a lot that I can learn. Right? But yeah. This is actually a really good drawing until I do my next drawing for imagination. I think that's what I'm gonna do to really hone in the point of how much effort matters and how goated artwod is. Fucking 2-in-1 shilling, right? I'm gonna keep pulling out my imagination drawings as an example, I guess. But anyways, I'm gonna rest my brain. I encourage you to do so as well. But yeah, guys and girls, women and men, females and she-males, right? Put your ego aside, right? Put your ego aside, and be honest with yourself. Do you want to be someone who feels good every time they draw, or do you want to be someone who, because of what they created, or do you want to be someone who feels good when they draw because of how much effort they put in? Because the first type of person will only feel good like a very small arbitrary number of times, you know, and they will never be satisfied. and the what the fuck, the former, the latter, yeah, the latter will always, or vast majority of the time, enjoy their efforts, the drawings that they did, their drawing time, because they just tried, right? So, pee pee poo poo. Let's see, putting this fucker in a box. How we do? How we do? I feel as if the eyes are actually just a straight line. Like I feel as if this is actually a 1 point perspective. I've been trying to analyze, right? I've been trying to really, and I'm just looking at it right now. It's basically straight because this is a portrait. This is actually someone's face from the front view. So this is a long lens, right? This is, oh god, I gotta sneeze. God damn it! I fucked myself with that sneeze. I said I gotta sneeze, and then I started talking in between it. And then that retarded giggle little noise was what I could come out with. Right, I'll come out with many more things, but for now there will be no coming out. We're rescinding back into the closet and analyzing this human being as books. Yezzy books. But yeah, put your ego aside. Right? That's truly how you enjoy it, is your expectation should be, let me just try as much as I can, and I expect that even as I try as much as I can, I won't be able to do what I expect that trying to do, and I won't be able to output what I expect that doing to be yabba dabba do, right? Deep talks. So like, subscribe, give me retention. At this point, anybody who's listening at this point is a fucking moron if they haven't liked, subscribed. Genuinely, because what the fuck are you doing listening and watching me and not like subscribing at this point? 40 minutes in the fucking video, right? I'm allowed to beg for likes and subscriptions at this point, right? I've clearly got your fucking attention, retard. So, oh, he's so what is it? I was trying to think of that line from what is it, like, what's it called? What is it? That doesn't even make any sense. Yes, it does. It's provocative. No, it's not. I guess the people go, yeah. I mean, I can't say the song name because I guess I'll get canceled. But I mean, I can say the song name, but I will not on video because I don't want to get canceled. Great song though. Ball so hard, right? But, but yeah, like I was just trying to be like, haha, I'm provocative because I swore at you. And then I tried to tell you to subscribe. I don't fucking know my shit. My jokes are shit. Fuck off. I'm trying to draw. Leave me alone. God damn it. But it's okay. Yeah, I do believe I do that this is, what the fuck is this? I think this is a 1 point perspective. I actually think this is 1 point perspective because if I think about the horizon line, this guy's eye. We're not seeing the top of his head, are we? We are not seeing the top of his head, I don't believe. So this is the part of learning where I'm thinking and I'm problem solving and I'm trying to figure things out, but nothing is happening on paper, right? And this is also a really, really important aspect of it. Please be aware that this is actually very normal, right? This is actually, damn, I drew his lips way too fucking big. Why are they so thick? I'm just noticing here. Okay, but I guess he has very succulent lips, but they are nowhere near DSLs, right? All right, yeah, that's a straight line. So how does that play into perspective? That has to be a 1 point perspective then. My mind, it has to be like a slight 1 point perspective. Okay, you know what? We can at least start with the angles we are familiar with, which is this. This has to be a 1 point perspective. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything, but I'm relatively confident that it is leaning towards a 1 point perspective. I think we can say that. I think I can say that, right? Like, I'm relatively confident it's leaning towards 1 point perspective, but... Oh, did this pen finally go to shit? I guess it did finally go to shit. Wonderful. Now I'm going to use the other pen that also I thought dried out, but now it's just been resting, and this one will work fine. There you go. See, look at that. That's what I just do. I just keep cycling between these fucking pens now. Because they randomly dry out. Pen teru brushes hainu pen artistu penu. Right? Good shit. So... that is not way too curved. So I can say that for sure. That's not way too curved at all. Let's see, and then his chin is the giga chin, right? As Crocker once said, the nigga chin. Oh, that's so funny. I probably hurt your ears there. I hurt my ears as well, so don't mind me. But definitely more curved than one would believe. Or sorry, more angled. And then... Okay, so now it's just about figuring out what Because it's just straight. This eye line is literally straight. Does that not indicate it is a 1 point perspective? I'm sure fucking years down the line, somebody will comment being like, actually, like, and I'm just gonna be like, thank you so much for the useless comment. It's been 8 years. But I'm gonna say this is a very slight 1 point perspective. Like, we're not seeing the top of his head. Are we? Fuck, I don't know anymore. Let's see. That's straight. I'm looking at his eye line. His eye line is straight, and then his eye to his ear, because that's what I used to indicate the form is also straight. Like, literally parallel. Like, fucking in line. Right? Like, it's like that. It's literally like that. So, I believe it has to be something like this. Right? It doesn't make any sense. We're not seeing the top of his head. Because if this is converging in, that would have to be converging in if this was also the top of his head. So we're just going to do something like this. Very subtle. And again, I'm still trying to see the sphere inside of this. I made the box a bit too small. So, you know, that's on me, right? But seeing the sphere inside of this has become a lot easier. And again, because I put so much fucking effort over the last 40 hours of practicing this, right, that it didn't mean anything until it did. Does that make sense? Like, it didn't mean anything until it did, right? The efforts did not compound until they did compound. And now I'm able to do it a lot clearer, right? You can even see, like, I'm drawing more complicated shit, but I'm relatively keeping the perspective in line, right? Like, after accounting for this mistake, it's pretty much in perspective. Obviously, there's like a lot of little misalignments here and there, which is why, like, I need to stop making things so muddied and so fucking all over the place. But in terms of like details and shit, that's obviously a whole nother issue. By the way, and again, like, thinking of the box while thinking of the sphere inside the box, while thinking of the center lines inside the sphere inside the box is extremely difficult, by the way. Like, that is 3 layers of perspective I'm attempting to hold into my mind at all times, right? 3 layers of perspective, right? It's not easy, but it is something I'm constantly trying to do. And again, I'm only able to do it maybe like 30% of the time, max. The goal is hopefully by end of the year, it's like a 60% of the time, right? But for the time being, 30% is what I can muster. And that's at max, right? Kim Jong-il says he can envision about 40 to 60% of the imagination stuff. That's basically what he says. He says he can envision about 40 to... He's changed that number a bunch, but on average, it seems to be constantly 40 to 60%, right? Like, that's his range. Like, I don't think he's ever said... He said... I remember in one interview, he said 80 or like 70, and then he's like, no, he's like, I'd like to take that back. It's more like 60. He's like, I take that back, right? So... And I remember it, because I pay very fucking close attention to the shit he says, right? Because, you know, when you're obsessed with somebody's abilities, you tend to really try to hang on to their word, right? Maybe in the future people are doing the same thing to me. Who knows? Like, right now as I'm speaking, maybe you're hanging on to every single word I'm saying, right? Because I have proven my word. That is, it's not even a maybe. It's a high likelihood that there's at least, let's say this is what, like, my 300 plus video, we're 1 year into the channel, right? 1 year and 2 months into the channel. It's 2026. Let's say the channel pops off around 2030 to 2035, right? Like, let's say that's when the channel pops off. And let's say, like, I hit minimum 1 million subscribers. Minimum. And let's say I average, like, 300,000 views per video. That's too much. Let's say I average, like, 50 to 80,000 views per video, right? So there has to be at least, like, 1 to 2K people watching these videos from the early years. And thus, to getting to this point, there has to be maybe at least, like, 100 people. Right, let's say 50 to 100 people. Yeah, let's say like 20 to 50 people. Yeah, okay. I just keep fucking downplaying and downplaying. Right, actually nobody's really listening, and I'm just fucking deluded. It's all in my head, right? But who knows? It's possible that you, who I just sort of fucking unnecessarily methoded it into like trying to figure out how many of you are listening. Maybe you are hanging on to my every word. Right? That's actually much better perspective, proportion wise. This looks a lot better. Yeah, it's actually very, very good. Very fucking good. For, you know, in my layman's eyes, right? But yeah, perspective, let's see. You know, this one actually pretty simple, but yeah, so it's converging. That's pretty good. I'm obviously gonna make this a lot bigger. This was way too small, right? So proportion is something I still struggle with. And I say that like every fucking video. But let's see. Okay, so immediately, I just need to start thinking about the big shapes, right? I just need to start thinking about the big shapes. This is my center line, so I need to think about what this is gonna look like. Let's see, why don't we do something like this? And again, I'm trying to think about that box. The box is really important, right? And I've literally never envisioned a box like this before. A 1 point perspective box that's angled, right? That's tilted. And I've never envisioned it. I've just never even thought of, you know, creatively. I've never done the creative thing of like ideating different types of boxes like this, right? I really spammed a lot of 2 point and 3 point perspective, like a lot. At 4 point, I've been doing a lot more now. Right, on my own time, I'm doing a Thoros Challenge 52. I should probably link the Discord. Probably should join the Discord. I haven't done that challenge much. I need to get back to it. I decided to do hardcore, and I'm not even on box 200 of 500, and there's still like cylinders and shit to go. So let's see. So I'm trying to think about the box. I'm trying to think about the sphere, and maybe like, and I'm trying to really make sure that what we have are large shapes, right? Large shapes that actually play a part in defining the what's it called? Defining the little design, I guess. Or like, this is already a lot better, you know, because now I'm already like thinking much more. Let's see, and what do I want to do? Something like that. I mean, I've never tried something like this, so might as well give it a shot. Right? And then we can have something jutting in. Like so. There you go. That's already a lot better. That's already a lot better. And then again, like following that contour, we can have... See, now we have the large shape, and then we have the tiny little details that I noticed that exist on these large shapes, right? And that is already a lot better than what I was doing prior, which is just... You see how that little shift of just thinking about larger shapes made such a huge difference to my... And let's bring that up a little bit. Huge difference to my art. Oh, okay, no, it has to be a little bit more. Right? And let's... Because this is basically flat, we can even... Well, because it's also... It's flat in terms of the perspective, but it is a rounded sphere. So, I'm gonna do something like this. And this is obviously, it's going to be curving now, because that is what is converging. There you go. That's not centered. I didn't center that properly, so maybe this should be something like this. Right, but this is already a lot better, I feel. Just in terms of shapes. Right, just in terms of shapes. What was I saying earlier? Yeah, maybe some of you are listening to every word I'm saying and hanging on to it, just like I do with Kim Jong-il, right? Is that ego? Is that pride? No, it's conjecture, right? It's just a hypothesis. But I also do believe I'm gonna work my ass off to get to the point where people will respect the words I have to say regarding art, right? Like much like look at Tyrion, right? Look at Tyrion, look at Broken Draw. You know, people hang on to his words. People genuinely hang on to his words. I hang on to his words. Why? Because he's very skilled, and I respect that skill, right? So, it's kind of just more of that. You know, if you are very skilled, people will respect that skill. That's kind of just a fact, right? Everybody respects skill. And everybody respects the work it takes to get to that level of skill. That's my belief. You know? Okay, so that's my shape for the time being. I'm still trying to make sure that I keep a relatively decent. And what do I want here? Maybe I want what do I want? Well, this is like seriously off perspective. I know that much. This is definitely off perspective. Because like I fucked this up, right? Fuck this shape up. If we just color this in, maybe it'll make it a little bit better. But even then, it doesn't really do much to help with it. But yeah, no, like it would be nice. It would be cool. But obviously, like I know that I'm gonna work to make people respect the efforts that I'm putting in, right? I don't. Nothing in this world is handed to you, nothing. And if it is, I don't want it, right? Like I don't want the handout. I want the handshake, right? That says, you fucking you put the work in, man. You literally put in the work. That's what I want. And that is what I will get. So how is this connected? Again, big shape, tiny shape cutting into it. And then again, like kind of outlining. So it's kind of like that. It's like that. Like that maybe? Right? And this is how we can establish the sphere. See, it's already getting a bit better. Nothing perfect, but I think definitely the design is at least a bit more compelling. Because okay, I do apologize. I should explain what I'm thinking about, right? How did I suddenly shift from drawing incomprehensible nonsense like this to something like this? Well, it's what I said, where I'm thinking about the big shapes. So I literally just started off when I did this angle, right? When I did something like this, right? I'm like, what if it's just something that's wrapping around the sphere and like jutting out like that, right? Like that is roughly what I did, right? Like something that's just jutting out like that. And then it was like, oh, okay, what if I add all these little details on top of it? And of course, the details are, you know, a bent cylinder, a fucking additional cutout that's occurring here, right? What's it called? Oh, now we have maybe like half a sphere coming in. Half a sphere has like a little manipulation, right? Has a flat plane over there, right? Oh, look, there's another addition occurring here, right? So like that's basically what I was thinking of. But it's all like trying to think about what is the shape, right? What is the shape what is the super basic shape that that's the wrong one, but you know, what's the basic shape that I'm having jut out of my sphere, right? So, horrible example, but I hope, because I'm just like speed running it, but I hope it makes sense. I hope you get what I'm trying to say, right? And it is helping me at the very least, think with more intention. Right, definitely think with way more intention. And yeah, like now I get to have the same thing happen on the other side. But again, it is curving, right? So we do need to be aware of that. Because this is a sphere at the end of the day, right? But actually, no, it is not curving. That's a beautiful part of it, actually. I just took that in. Because it's this perspective. There is no curve happening. And this is just a lot smaller. So we're just gonna have to cut this off right around here. Oh shit. See, like I fucked that up, right? Just have to cut it off right around there. See? And whether I did this correctly or not, it's okay, because even though I didn't do it correctly, actually, this should have been tapering more. It's still the attempt. I'm still trying really hard to make sense of it. And you know what? That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Let's make these lines a bit thicker, because right now it's kind of looking like there isn't much intent behind this. So, and that's just the lines themselves, right? That's not really, like, that's the line thickness itself. But yeah, it would actually be really, really, really cool if people are listening to what I'm saying in the future and they're actually like hanging on to my word. Um, but it wouldn't be surprising. I would I'm not gonna, I'm telling you right now, I'm not surprised if you guys are hanging on. But I wouldn't be surprised if you guys are hanging on to my word because I will have proven that you can work hard and you can achieve everything you want to. It's just a matter of when. Are you trying? Yes? Are you consistently trying? Yes? Congratulations, you have unlocked success. Wait 15 years. There you go. And that's the hard part. It's people can't be patient. You fuckers literally don't have patience, right? And I get it. I don't really have I didn't really know how to be patient either. Right? Like I had no idea. And again, like this is just me being like, what? Like again, larger shapes. So you see how this still looks relatively complicated like that, but this has very clear defined shapes that I'm attempting to define, I guess you could call, right? Like I'm attempting to define them as I go about them, right? And I'm attempting, and this is great practice for my lines because my lines are obviously fucking garbaggio. Okay, Signor Garbaggio. Anyways. Like my lines are obviously need a lot of work, but right, we can bring that up there evenly, bring this down, and then do a little bit of that. There you go. We have another shape. Right? It looks so much more legit. I think this is definitely my best. Holy shit, that's all it took was just to think about it as like large shapes stuck to each other with some sort of logic. and just really conceptualizing them as like constantly just larger shapes with clearly defined silhouettes, right? That's all it took. I mean, I'm gonna say it's all it took, and then watch next time I'm gonna be outputting some shit like this again. Oh, bro, I'm so fucking dehydrated. Actually, I'm not that dehydrated. I guess I'm just thirsty, which probably just means I'm dehydrated. Never mind, I'm an idiot. But yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, this is what I'm gonna struggle with because like I don't know what shape to put here, right? So we can just close this off for the time being, right? We don't need to design anything that there or like make it look unnecessarily complicated, right? Here, I'm not doodling. I am actually just trying to add form indications. You know what? We'll add another one because I fucked it up. There you go. Now that retains the perspective better. And now it's like, okay, like how are we gonna connect these? Right? How are we gonna connect this? Because this is obviously like, that I actually should have made go a bit further down. Like something like this, right? Because it is obviously converging. So I wanna have something converging here as well, in perspective. But before we do that, I'm trying to think, maybe, and again, large shapes, right? So maybe I could do something like this. Oh, by the way, I started watching this anime called Kenja no Mago, i.e. the wise man's grandson. Really good. I'm definitely at the point now where I'm watching a lot of the quote-unquote lower rated shows on my anime list or Annie list or whatever the fucking bro. Like a lot of these are hidden gems. Kenja no Mago, like the wise man's grandson, another isekai power fantasy trash, right? Like I love that shit. I'm really in that phase right now. But like it really breaks a lot of conventions, and the characters, like it's very well written. I actually like it quite a bit. It's funny, it's enjoyable. The tropes it utilizes are done well. The tropes it subverts are subverted well. The cast is enjoyable. I've heard them, as always, fucking manga's better. So I've heard that, right? I've heard that, but it's really good. I suggest you guys check it out. Yeah, check it out. Again, try to create a clear shape here that's connected to this, right? And I'm trying to think, how can I make this an interesting? Fucking maybe I'll just close it off. Fuck being interesting. It's too much work now. We'll just have this come out like this. We'll just have this be a sphere, and if the light's coming from there, then it'll be something like this, right? Okay, and now we just need large shapes to close this off. So you know what? I'm gonna do something like this. right? Wait, shit. Ah, fuck me, I made that way too long. God damn it. There you go. I know my form curving or wrapping around is still subpar, but ta-da! Yeah, we'll do something like that. See, because that'll be the sphere. And now, I don't know, something like... Yeah, let's just do something like this. If that's over there, that's over here. Something like that. And to make the shape, I guess this is gonna be the most basic shape that I do. It's just something like that, right? I'll have that come down, maybe like, you know, subtraction. I do apologize. I genuinely do apologize because I know, like, as I continue to get better, it's harder to verbalize every single manipulation that I'm doing. But I hope you're able to tell that there are subtractions occurring, right? That there are additions occurring. Like, I'm placing shapes. You know, this is like a subtraction right here, like this right here, this little thing. You know, this is a subtraction. This right here is a subtraction, right? This did end up getting a bit too convoluted as well, I will say. Right, this definitely got a bit too convoluted as well, but this is already so much clearer defined. Like, genuinely, it's already clearer defined, which I do like a lot, like with the shapes. And what do we want here? How do we want this to jut out? Because I do like having something that juts out. So for a large shape, we could just do something like... just something like that. There you go. Just something like that. Right? And then a little fucking grading or whatever. Ta-da! I actually like the perspective. I love how I had everything pretty decent, and then this just went to shit with the perspective. So now we gotta try to do something with the shadows. There you go, that's a bit better. It's not good, but it's a bit better. And then maybe we'll just crosshatch this, right? And this is probably the worst part of it all. Definitely the worst part of it all. But overall, I mean, it's also a bit undefined. So if I just do something like this, already actually makes it a lot better, right? Just add a couple lines there. Yeah, that's fine. That's actually pretty fucking good. This is definitely my best design thus far. And you can see it's a bit off perspective. It's actually very, like, the middle is definitely off perspective. Let's be honest, like, the middle is definitely off perspective. But perspective aside, right, the design is probably the best I've done. I feel, right? I'm sure people will disagree. I'm sure somebody will be like, I like what you did 13 episodes ago, right? Nobody's fucking watching that much. I don't know how many of you are hashtag legit Viggy Farmers is the real question, right? But TLDR of today's quote unquote episode, put your ego to the side and enjoy the efforts. Don't expect yourself to do amazing, and you just might create something amazing that at least you find to be amazing, right? But again, like, I didn't expect anything good here, and nothing good came out of it. And then, but I learned. I looked at this and I'm like, what isn't working? That's the thing. You got to look at it and be like, what beautiful errors did I make? And then you go here, and then you try again. I'm like, I still made a lot of beautiful errors, but it's so much cleaner. It's so much better. So, yeah, it's all a mindset, framework shift, right? Not a mindset shift. That's regarding, like, what I was talking about today in general. But regarding, like, what I understood here, just the framework shift of being like, oh, it's just shapes. It's all just fucking shapes. Shadows are shapes, lines are shapes, silhouettes are shapes, fucking composition is shapes. Like, it's all fucking shapes. What a beautiful blanket statement. That doesn't mean shit. But in this context, right, like, understanding that, oh, they are, if I start just thinking about them as large shapes and then, like, little additions and things happening within them, subtractions, additions, manipulations, plane changes, that's very difficult, by the way. That's extremely difficult. Don't get me wrong. I'm at a level where I can do this now relatively decently, but what is this? 15 reps of the second exercise, right? This is 15 reps of artwod's second exercise, and then I did 50 additional reps of this prior to that for the first exercise, and then I did 30 additional reps before that in the exercise prior, like the lesson prior, right? So that is what? We're at almost 100 repetitions, 100 repetitions, and clearly I'm going at a rate where it's about 2 to 3 repetitions per hour. So it's been 40 hours of practice minimum to get to this point, right? And before this, it was 40 hours practice prior to just be able to do decently with single rounding, multiple rounding, and cutting out and like thinking of different angles and shit, right? So none of this happens overnight, but you are capable of it, obviously, like that's the point. But yeah, like this is very difficult, don't get me wrong, this is very difficult, right? But I put a lot of work in to get to this point. Like you can see, like this, you would not think the person who did this was able to do this, but just a little mindset shift or framework shift or understanding shift of shapes, and obviously studying and analyzing helmets consistently, and through osmosis and just consistent effort, you start to understand things a bit better. And yeah, that's all I have to say. So it's been quite a bit over an hour. It's been an hour and 10 minutes. That's not bad. But yeah, hope you guys all enjoyed, or girls, whatever the fuck. 20% of my audience is apparently women now, so I actually have to address the others. gotta fucking put up a no girls allowed sign in this art channel, right? How dare you have creative interests such as that are the same as mine? I don't know what joke I'm trying to make, right? Woman equals bad. There you go. There's my sexism for this episode. But yeah, I mean, as always, I hope you put a lot of effort in. I hope you genuinely tried. I hope you took away something from this video. If there's anything you can take away, please just take away that your ego is holding you back, and your ego is the cause of all your distress when it comes to your art practice. Right, there you go. Completely shutting aside any other nuance in anybody's day-to-day that might be getting in the way, right? But like I said, I may be right on something, may not be right on others, but I think ego is a big part of it. At the very least, understand that if you're having expectations, where those expectations come from. And I'm going to presume it's highly likely because you're expecting things that you're not capable of. Because if you were capable of them, you'd be able to do them, right? Given enough time, you'd be able to do them. And that's the beauty, actually, because that is true. Given enough time, you will be able to do them. Just what you define as time and what I define as time is different, right? I define time as 10 years. You define time as your 1 40-minute session, right? So that's where you need to shift the alignment and your expectations. But yeah, always focus on the effort. Always do your best to ascribe positive feelings to errors that you did your best not to make, but still made, right? And that's it. That's all you need to do. Enjoy your effort, right? Because that is worth something. That you are worth that, at the very least. You are worth becoming the person who puts that effort in. So, all that hashtag Viggy motivation aside, as always, fuck you for watching. Keep drawing, and please, give me money.